What's up guys, welcome to Cube Portal, and this video is going to be about the easiest method to get sub 20. This is a subjective question, but if we talk about what's the easiest or fastest way in which you can get sub 20 or consistently get a 3x3 solved under 20 seconds, if right now you average about 25 to 30 seconds or even like 40 seconds, when I wanted to be sub 20 for the first time, back when I learned how to solve the Rubik's Cube for the first time, I think in 2014, I really struggled to get sub 20 after my average was stuck at like around 25 seconds. And there were a few reasons for that, and the biggest question in my mind at that time was whether or not I'll have to learn all of the 57 OLL algorithms to get sub 20. Now, if you do have the same question, the short answer is no, you don't have to, but I would really recommend that you do learn all of the OLL algorithms, because in cases like these, if I would record the time it takes to solve this case using just one algorithm versus using a set of two algorithms, now, as you can clearly see that it took me twice as much time with using two algorithms, and especially if you want to be sub 15 and you want to keep improving using CFOP, you just cannot do that without learning all of the OLL algorithms. So let's quickly see what are all the things that you must learn in order to be sub 20. The first thing is learning to build an efficient cross. By this I mean that you plan your entire cross during the time of inspection. So for this case, for example, we have our edges quite awkwardly arranged, and what you have to do during the time of inspection is think of an efficient solution. So firstly, you can just put in the orange and blue edges right next to each other. For the green edge, you just insert it in the back, opposite to the blue one, which gets your red edge on top, which you can easily insert in here and get done with it. Now, all of this you should be able to visualize during the time of inspection, so that when you execute it, you can just quickly do it without having to think twice. Next up is, I think, one of the most important things, and this is something that I had to do twice, which you can see in the last video that I uploaded about my journey from sub 25 to sub 20, and it is minimizing cube rotations, because it will save you a lot of time. So like for simple cases such as, let's take this orange and green pair for example. So if you were to arrange it like so and use this algorithm to solve it into a pair, a 3-move insert pair, and then instead of having to put it right above its slot and rotating the cube and then inserting it, what you can do is do a lowercase d prime and then insert it directly. Now these are things which you will only know through experience, and I have a really good strategy on how to learn such simple techniques on your own without having to look up algorithms at all, which I'll talk about later in the video. Moving on, the next most important thing is improving your look ahead, so that when you are solving one pair, you have to pay attention to what's happening to your next pair. In this case, we have this conveniently placed blue-red pair over here, which we can just put in the back and then arrange for a 3-move insert. But as we do this, what you must notice is what happens to this red and green pair. So as you pair up that one, this one also gets paired up. Not only that, this time we also have a third pair ready to be inserted. So if you've been practicing your F2L a lot, then you don't really have to think about how you're going to insert all these pairs, because you'll just know that the first one goes in the back, and then to be able to quickly insert the last two, what you can do is again a lowercase d prime and then insert the first one in the back and then insert the last one like so. And this time we have a really convenient OLL case, which is not the case always, as I've already talked about, But still, even practicing your finger tricks for these simple cases can save you a lot of time if you're able to do them really quickly. And also, learning good finger tricks for all of the difficult PLL algorithms is, I think, really important. So something like the T-Perm is really easy, and I guess everyone can execute it really efficiently. But if we talk about something like the G-Perm, I would say, more than thinking about which algorithm to choose out of the multiple ones you could find on the internet for such cases, you should focus on learning good finger tricks. So for example, I'll show you two good algorithms for this case. The first one goes like this, but it does involve a cube rotation, and there's really no way to do it faster than that without a cube rotation. But then we have algorithms which don't require a cube rotation, like this one. And now this is a matter of choice. You must choose the one which you can execute faster, and you must learn all of the appropriate finger tricks for it. There are lots of videos on YouTube which you could find for good OLL and PLL finger tricks. I will leave a couple of links in the description, so you might check them out. And another thing which is not really that important at this stage, but especially if you want to be sub 15 and below it, I think will be helpful, is learning multiple algorithms to solve the same PLL case from different angles. Like this is a standard U-perm which you can easily solve in this position, but if you were to get the same case at the back, then either you'll have to do a U2 and then solve it and then do U2 again, or you'll have to make a double cube rotation. But the fastest way to solve this case would be to just learn another algorithm to solve it from the back. So in this case, the algorithm which is used for it goes like this, and it's just as convenient as doing it from the front. Now let's talk about what is the easiest method, or what I believe to be the easiest one, to master all of these fundamental things which you must know about speed solving a 3x3. Now I like to call it, it's not really a method or anything, but it's a fun abbreviation to just call it the PSS method, or practicing slow solves, which is just getting used to solving and practicing different parts of the CFOP method without using a timer, and rather just using your intuition combined with good algorithms and muscle memory retention. So basically, what I mean is to get the cube randomly scrambled and not to use a timer, which would prevent you from making further progress in some cases, because you're really not learning anything new if you're just going straight into speed solving without taking the time to develop your knowledge of the fundamentals. And what I mean by slow solves is another subjective thing, because slow solves for me would be the ones where I'm spending around 5 minutes thinking about each step and not just rushing my way through. For example, you could take an entire minute or two to just plan your cross instead of using just the 15 seconds of the standard inspection time, and it's really helpful because you can try out different solutions for the same cross. And this goes for F2L cases as well. You can try out lots of different solutions and then come up with which one works the best. And as well as you can learn, or you can find out lots of different ways and techniques to solve the same set of F2L pairs in different manners. Not to mention, this is, I think, the best way to improve your look ahead is to practice slow solves on your own without a timer. And personally, this is the one thing that has helped me a lot to get my times to average even under 15 seconds. And although this might not really appeal to everyone, but especially for the people who like to think intuitively and not just learn lots of algorithms, although learning the basic algorithms, all of the OLL and PLLs with good finger tricks is really important. What's also important is to develop your knowledge of transitions between cross and F2L, F2L and OLL, and OLL and PLL as well. What I mean by that is, if you haven't learned all of the OLL algorithms yet, then one thing that you must try doing is to prevent coming across any OLL case with a single dot in the middle. So for example, right now, if I were to do the last pair, it gives me a decent enough case which I can solve using two algorithms of OLL, like so. But if I were to have a case where I have an F12 pair like this, and if I insert it normally using RU prime R prime, I'm left with a really bad OLL case. So in such cases, what you can do instead of just inserting the pair like you normally would, you can do a sledgehammer to get a much better OLL case to solve. And techniques like this would actually naturally come to you through practice and experimentation, rather than just trying to look up or find an explanation for what is this minor detail. And there are also the opposite cases of that, where you might get a bad OLL case if you were to insert it using a sledgehammer. And in such cases, you have to insert it like you normally would. Regardless, I think it's really important to learn all of the OLL algorithms, because, well, I personally did not learn all of them until I was like sub-17, when I realized that it really takes a lot of time to just do two algorithms for a simple case rather than doing just one. So it's much faster that way. Alright, so that's it for this video, and all the links for the various topics and algorithms which have been discussed in the video are in the description, so do check them out, and I hope this was helpful for some of you. Any kind of feedback is really appreciated, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.